the story of Cat and Connor, as told by Tracy Bowman, trainer for Fidos for Freedom. Occasionally, I have the privilege of participating in the evaluation of prospective puppies for the Fidos for Freedom program. So I met Connor when he was a tiny itty bitty puppy at John and Terry Peters' kennel. Terry, who had donated dogs to Fidos before, thought Connor was the right choice because, in her words, he was a thinker. Brian, my husband, and I subsequently became Connor's puppy raisers, and we got to see what Terry meant by that. For example, at a get together, the entire litter, when they were about 4 months old, most of the puppies ran around, mouthing each other, wrestling, and jumping on one another. Connor did some of that too, but I vividly recall he spent more time looking and sniffing at the flowers in the garden. This earned him an early nickname, Ferdinand. Connor grew up as all puppies do and went off to the Sherry Sorokin's Tale of Hope prison program in Cumberland, Maryland, to learn and practice the skills needed as a future assistance dog. When it was time to come back, Connor continued to break the mold in that I was selected to be his trainer despite the fact that we had been his puppy raisers. This is because Connor demonstrated the potential not to be overly attached to us. He liked us, but he was all about his job and his tennis ball. Yes, he developed a serious addiction to tennis balls up at the prison. Cat was accepted and began working on the training floor in early 2019. Cat worked with all the assistance dogs in training on the floor. It was evident early on that Cat had very good handling skills, was able to work effectively with all the Fidos dogs. But somewhere along the way, it was evident that Connor worked very well for Cat. He respected her strong leadership skills and her clear communication style. And in turn, Cat worked very well with Connor. The two were matched in late August 2019. This was a significant challenge for Cat. As a high school teacher, she began this new partnership at one of the hardest times of the year for a teacher, the beginning of a new school year with new students. And not just any students, but high school students. On top of that, Cat was enrolled in postgraduate classes to further her own education. But in true Cat fashion, she got organized and rose to the challenge. She was a great handler, but also very open to advice and feedback. And I came to the high school where Cat worked on an in-service day when students were not present. Cat showed Connor all around the school, including her classroom, her office, the corridors, and even the theaters where her students staged productions. Cat and Connor moved all around the stage, the seats, and the tech areas where lighting and sound, etc. are produced. She was impressed that he handled it all with aplomb and rewarded him with a small amount of ball play, because Connor is all about that ball. On another day, we attended an after-school rehearsal where students were running lines and doing blocking. Connor had the typical collie concern that students were not acting in an organized manner and in need of some corrective herding, but Cat worked with Connor to show him where he needed to be and kept the rehearsal moving ahead and running smoothly. Very impressive indeed. In retrospect, some of the biggest challenges the team faced were some that were expected and many that were completely unexpected. Cat and her husband Joe were the sole proprietors of a very large and diverse menagerie, including 3 dogs and several small mammals. Thankfully, our house was very similar with 2 guinea pigs, 3 cats, and several dogs, so Connor took it all in stride. However, by definition, an assistance dog must be very close and very bonded to the human partner, and this fact, in some ways, elevates the assistance dog in status. True to nature, Cat and Joe were quite open to advice and took the steps necessary to keep everyone safe and healthy while the household adapted to their newest member in his necessary proximity to Cat. But I did advise them, don't get any more animals. One of the funniest things that happened after Connor came home was his first bath. I had been assured by both Cat and Joe, her husband, that they had a good system for bathing dogs. However, their dogs, Ginger, Silas, and Noodle, were all short-haired dogs without an undercoat. And smooth collies may have short hair, but they are legendary for their undercoat and their extravagant shedding. Cat and Joe were appropriately stunned by the deluge of massive amounts of wet collie undercoat the bath left in their backyard, and quickly pivoted to a more successful strategy for Connor's future baths. How do you prepare a team for a worldwide pandemic that includes shutdowns, closures of every aspect of our community, including schools, masking, social distancing, isolation? You can't. Cat and I had to rely on the open lines of communication we established from the get-go, the sure knowledge that we were both invested in the same thing, which was the well-being of both members of the team, both human and dog, and the foundation of good hard work that Kat and Connor accomplished during the match. And talk about the unexpected. I got a message one day that said, "You told me and Joe not to get another animal." I thought to myself, oh dear, what did they do? Well, this is how I learned that Kat and Joe were expecting a baby. I'm so proud of both Kat and Connor. They put the work in to become a polished team that could and did rise to the challenges of work, motherhood, and a pandemic. It's a shame that COVID has eliminated the tradition of the Fidos graduation because it would be interesting to hear what Kat would say about their year. But I know one thing, these partners will be ready to meet any challenges that come their way because they already have.